Hi guys, this film is about PDS or Personal Development Skills Unit 2 at a senior level. If this isn't your level, then you need to get out of this movie and go to the one that is appropriate for you. The purpose of this subject is for you to become part of the community and to complete various community projects. The booklet that you have for this should be green. The one I'm speaking to you from is white. Just be aware. You start with outcome 1. This goes from pages 1 to 11. You firstly need to identify the issue and then research it. To start, you're looking, as you have in the past, down the bottom with what your project is that you would like to do, and then work your way back to identify the issue for it. So, for instance, if your project is to paint a wall, you need to work backwards and say that the issue is that the place is unattractive and it has an effect on us. Tell us which area of life that relates to and explain how it does. You are going to research this issue, but before you do, you need to look at different research methods. You need to identify 3 and identify the positives and negatives for that research method. So it could be talking to people, it could be reading, it could be research, whatever it is that you want to do. But on page 2, tell us what that research method is, the benefits of using that method, and the downsides of using that method. You do that 3 times. Once that's done, it needs to be presented to a staff member, so just email it through and they'll give you a bit of feedback. Once that's done, you need to research the issue. The issue is, for instance, the underlying concern, not your project. You are not researching how to do your project. You are researching the issue. So for that, you need to identify the source of the information you found, what you found, and what it means or suggests. You need to do that for a total of 3 times as a minimum. Once you've done that research, you need to analyse that information. So on page 4, it asks you to tell us what the issue is, what are the consequences for that issue, why should something be done about that issue, why hasn't something been done yet, what benefits will there be to addressing the issue, and what are the potential downsides to addressing the issue. So once you've done that research on the issue itself, you need to identify potential support for addressing the issue. It could be a person, it could be an organisation, it could be a supplier of materials, whatever it is. But write down who could potentially support you, and you need to research them. So what is the source of information and what did you find? Once you need to do that for 3 potential sources. Once that's done, you need to compile everything that you've found since page 1 and present it in a PowerPoint presentation to a peer and a staff member. This needs to be using ICT, so generally people will use a PowerPoint. If you want to use something else, that's fine. But just have a cover page with what you want to talk about. After that, use the things we're going to comment upon to be a page. So slide would be on research on the issue, slide on the critical evaluation, slide on potential support, and then we'll judge you on your presentation skills and the use of technology. Once you've done that, you're up to page 8, which is where you're turning your idea into a distinct plan. Same as what you did in PDS1, you just need to go through the step, why it's needed, and when you aim to complete it by. Again, be as detailed as possible, assume we know nothing. You then need to tell us the resources you need, these could be tools or materials, why they're needed, and again, list them all down on that page. From there, you need to look at a budget. So, what are your expenses? What is the cost of that item? How many of that item do you need? And therefore total cost. You need to then tell us your funding source, whether it's the VCAL budget or personal funds or whatever it's going to be. And is there anything that we need to note? So for instance, are we getting money from an organisation to help us with this? Once you've done that, you're up to page 10. This requires you to look at potential problems that could arise through the course of this project and identify different ways to address these issues. You been asked to pre-plan here because that's what good project managers do. They identify potential issues and come up with a solution to them before they come. So if they come, they know exactly what to do rather than having to make things up on the fly. So on page 10, tell us what the potential problem is, what is likely to happen, and what the consequences are for that. Now you need to come up with 3 strategies to address the problem and evaluate them. So what the solution number 1 is, what are the positives of this and the negatives of this solution. Do it for 2 and 3, and then tell us which of those 3 you're going to use and why. Do the same for another potential problem you could have on page 11. From there, you're up to outcome 2. Outcome 2 is fairly important. In this unit, you've been required to create an external partnership with a person or an organisation so that you can start making some decent links into the community. This link that you make with this external partnership needs to be with someone who can help you. So firstly, on page 12, it's asking you how do you intend to help form your external partnership? So who can help you with that? Who do you want to approach? Why are they the best option? And what are the goals that you want to achieve out of this? So what are some strategies after that to make sure the partnership's successful? For instance, calling them once a week just to keep them updated, whatever. But tell us what the strategy is and the positives and negatives for each of those strategies. From there, you're up to page 13, which is a memorandum of understanding. This is a pro forma and you can fill it in either physically or digitally if you wish. But you need to put your name here. So, for instance, memorandum of understanding between Mitch Coombs, representing Kyabram P-12 College Applied Learning Program, and whoever you're partnering with, for instance, Warramunda Aged Care. The objective of this memorandum of understanding is to outline the project that will be done, explain what Mitch will do to support it, and outline exactly what Warramunda is going to do. Areas of cooperation, we undertake to A, communicate with Warramunda once a week about our aims. Number 2, plan projects in concert with the activities team. And 3, carry out projects with supervision. The rest is fairly straightforward. It's just saying that these are our policies in regards to expenses, revisions, settlement of disputes, etc. What you then need to do is get them to read it, agree to it, and you're going to sign it. So you need to replace here with the date that you have done it. So the day, month, and year. And then I need to sign it, you need to sign it, and your partner needs to sign it. If you're doing projects at home during the isolation period, I'd suggest that you're probably going to make that partnership with home itself. So mum, dad, guardians, whoever it is that you're living with. Or it could be a supplier that's going to give you materials, for instance, nights or something like that. At the end of this project, you need to make sure you do a critical reflection on how that went. So there's a student section here just on how the partnership went, the school section here, which we can fill out for you, and the external partner section here, which the partner will fill out for you. You just need to make sure you do these so that we can sign off your work. Outcome 4 is pages 7 to 21. It requires you to present on the issue, the plan, and the partnership. So on page 17, it tells you exactly what you need at the top of the page. But please be aware you need to present this with ICT, such as a PowerPoint. So you need to include what the issue is in the information you've researched, what your project plan is, potential issues and how you're going to deal with them, your budget, your project timeline, and who the external partner is and how they can help you. So you need to have a handout with this of some description so that your audience members can take away. So it could be a booklet or something like this. To do this, you need a plan, a draft, and a good copy. What I would recommend is that you use the project pro forma that I have created with examples on sections and how to fill those in. The example I've given for you in that sample is introducing foreign language signage and advertising to the Kyabram Fauna Park. If you don't have this or you can't find this, please let me know and I'll get it to you as soon as possible. For your presentation, you need to plan your presentation style as well, and therefore make sure your language and tone's appropriate. So tell us the language that you're choosing. So is it going to be formal, informal, combination of both, and why have you chosen that? And then your tone, so happy, sad, angry, excited, and why. Show that to a staff member, get it signed off. You then need to do your presentation. If you're doing it at home, that's fine. You're just going to have to record it and email it to us. In that email, we'll need the recording, we'll need your PowerPoint presentation, and the handout that you intend to create. After that, we have a reflection that needs to be done. So staff member on page 18, the external partner that you've approached will need to do one on page 19, peer reflection on page 20, and a self-reflection on page 21, so that you can make sure you have all the evidence that you need from there. From now, you are looking at the project itself. But the first time you do PDS2, you do need to do some one-off readings. In the booklet, these are from pages 23 to 35, and they are on the topic of decision-making skills, conflict management, and empathy. So they are in your booklet. There is another booklet up online that does not have the readings in it, so the page numbers that I refer to now will change accordingly. If you want to, you only have to do these readings once. So once throughout the course of it, there are questions at the bottom that you do need to fill out. So make sure that gets done, please. From there, you are simply up to doing your projects. As in the past, you need to make sure that you are doing your work diaries, and I'll talk you through these in a sec, and there's a reflection. When you're doing the projects, we also need photos sent through if you're doing this in isolation so that we can authenticate your work. But you do need to run meetings for this. So you will need to create an agenda and you will need to create minutes. These need to be done at least twice throughout the course of the project so that you can get these done. So I've spoken through agendas and minutes before, but you need to just tell me what the meeting is. So Warramunda meeting, the time, date, and location of that meeting, tell us when and who couldn't make it. Reports will be things that people bring back to you. So the OH&S person could be giving you a report, your partner could be giving you a report, you could be giving a report. Business arising can only happen in the second meeting onwards, so it's something that's come from the general business of the previous week. I'll get back to that. But general business is just things that you would like to talk about. So you put your dot points in there, plan for today, OH&S, support, etc. So in the first meeting, you're not going to have business arising. But from general business, if you had a meeting yesterday and there was an OH&S concern that you raised that, the power equipment was faulty and it was a risk, the business arising next week would be something like power tools dodgy, and I followed it up and that is getting fixed. The meeting minutes are the same. You have the same headings that you had in your agenda there, but you describe the agenda item a little bit more, and then in decision section you just tell us what was the solution for that. So from that, you do the work. As I said, you do the photos, you send them through, and then you're up to a work diary. These are just 1 page each. Just starts fairly simple. What did you do today? How do you rate your performance and why? How do you rate the performance of others in the group and why? Did you achieve anything significant today? Did you need to deal with internal or external factors which could have impeded your project? And did you apply appropriate negotiation and decision-making skills today? Did you implement conflict resolution skills today? How did you demonstrate compassion and empathy towards others today? And how did your external partnership help you today? As in the past, the vast majority of this is designed to be an opportunity for you to develop the skills that you need to show for the workplace. So that's where the vast majority of it lies. That said, though, we do need to make sure you get these projects approved by us so that they are sophisticated enough for you to fulfill the requirements of this task. From pages 52, we have a reflection that needs to be filled out for your project. So staff member reflection goes for 2 pages. The peer reflection that goes for 2 pages. your external partner reflection, which goes for 2 pages, and then your student reflection, so how you think you went. As in the past, once you've done this, you will have completed PDS Unit 2 for the first time. You need to complete it for a total of 3 times. We anticipate that you start this in week 6 of term 2, so that you are able to finish it within 5 weeks, which would be the end of term 2. After that, you split term 3 in half and do a project each half of that term. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Stay safe.